Today we're talking about Felipe Anderson. We're not going to be talking about the what was it, the Ford Dia or the Toyota Simmer or the what was the other one, Tommy?
We had the Ford Dakar.
Ford Dakar, sorry.
Yeah, and we had the Fiat Dia, and
Fiat
I think it was the Toyota Simmer.
Yeah, we're not talking about those cars today. We're actually going to be talking about an older model, more of a reliant Robin Anderson. That doesn't really work, does it? But Tommy, the other day we were chatting, and you said to me you'd quite like to talk about Felipe Anderson on one of these videos. So I take it you got. It's a subject that I thought, well, this is great. It's a subject that needs to be discussed anyway. Particularly, there's some possible interest from Everton. We've got the failure at West Ham, the possibility that he might be recalled, due largely to the fact that only could he not get into the Porto squad, who are paying over $100,000 a week to loan him. He's not featured in any games. I don't think he's featured in the squads for a month or something like that. Bit of a sorry tale, mate, really.
Yeah, it is really, and that's kind of where I'm coming from on this. I watched your video. Was it last week? Might have been last week.
I do too many, mate.
You do so many of them. But you were going through player comings and goings potentially in January during the transfer window, and you mentioned the situation with Felipe Anderson possibly cutting his loan deal short over there. And I'll be honest with you, it was in my head kind of for the rest of the day, kind of thinking about the whole Felipe Anderson situation. And I remember thinking it's actually just a bit of a sad tale, really. Because, when he first arrived, that first season, he did quite well. There were games where he looked absolutely wonderful, and he wasn't especially consistent, but we'd been warned about that he blows a bit hot and cold. But after the first season, I thought, well, I can kind of live with that first season. Yes, there were games he was not so effective, but when he was effective, he was absolutely fantastic, and he was great to watch. Kind of player that, as West Ham fans, we love to see. A skillful winger that can go past people. He scored an absolute peach of a curler against Palace at home.
Mm.
And we thought, we've got a player here. And I think I expected, like everybody else, that in his second season, he'd push on and that we'd hopefully maybe see a little more consistency. And that we might see more games where he's really at it. And I was excited. I think all fans were excited to see what Felipe Anderson would bring in his second season. I certainly consider his first season to be largely successful. But unfortunately, the wheels just came off. And fast forwarding to now, I don't quite understand it. Because clearly, look, this is not a talent issue.
No.
I think this is up here somewhere with Felipe Anderson. And I know that last season I was so frustrated with him that I wanted him sold. I'll be completely honest. I wanted him out of the club. He was not performing whatsoever. He was giving the ball away. And the thing that was really grinding my gears more than anything was him not going into 50-50 challenges, shying out of them. Like there was one game away to Liverpool last season. He went in for a pretty soft, on your feet, just put a foot in, try and win the ball away. Just needed a strong foot to try and win the ball. He didn't want to know. And that's a basic, not even a heavy challenge that he needed to go in for. And he bottled it. And I remember Firmino, seconds later, almost scored. He flashed a shot from just outside the box, just wide. And I was doing my nut watching this. And then I saw in another game, we're at home, I can't remember which one, he kind of like feigned like he was going up to challenge for a header. Clearly had no intention of actually challenging for it. He was just trying to kind of look like he was trying to win it, trying to cod the fans, cod the manager like he was trying. He just didn't want to know. So I was done with him, wanted him sold. Because I hate that, players not putting it in, like not willing to go in and challenge and put a foot in and get stuck in for the cause. If you're not going to do that, I think there's no point in you being on the pitch. And I think David Moyes would probably feel the same way. And clearly David Moyes didn't really want him in the squad or the team either. Would have sold him 100% had he gotten a bid for him in the summer. But bids weren't coming for Felipe. So basically, all we were left with in the end was this offer from Porto, who were interested in loaning him for a season. And here's where everything kind of changes, I think, for me, because where I start to feel a little sympathy for Felipe, because I don't think he's a bad guy. Right, my problems with him were all on the pitch stuff.
Yeah.
Right, so I think he always seems to me like a kind of a sad figure. You know, when he's on the pitch, he just looks like someone who's sad, who's like down in the dumps.
No, yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah,
you know what I mean.
He's not happy. No, he's not.
No, and
he's
very,
not Ronaldinho, is he? Smiling all the time. Yeah.
No, he's not. He always seemed to me like he's a bit down, like he feels a bit sad for some reason, like he's not happy. And I did feel sorry for him a bit, because he didn't seem like he was in a good place in his head. And he clearly did not want to go to Porto. I think he wanted to stay at West Ham. And there were reports of that he really didn't particularly want to be loaned out to Porto for the season. But I think his arm was kind of twisted a bit, to be honest. I think he was almost kind of shoved out the door, like, go on, Felipe, go on. Just go to Porto for a season. I think, David Moyes didn't particularly feel like he was going to use him. And David Sullivan certainly would have wanted 100 grand a week off the books for a season that was playing Felipe, because obviously he had other players coming in that were going to require wages. So
and some family members coming in who, yeah.
Yeah, indeed. I'm sure I heard you earlier on that. So so he kind of got, just a little push in the back out the door, and then he was like, okay, I'll go. So he's gone to a club that he didn't really want to be at, kind of pushed out a bit by a manager that didn't really want him there, wasn't going to play him, and by a chairman who wanted the 100 grand a week to be Porto's problem for a season. So it's not really any wonder that things haven't worked out particularly well for him at Porto, because they got a player that they're now paying 100 grand a week for, who doesn't want to be there, who's probably a bit sulky, who clearly under those circumstances is not going to perform for them. And now it's all gone Pete Tong, because he's pissed off the manager, he's pissed off Porto's chairman, and now he's seemingly completely in limbo as a player. So they want to send him back to us. We don't particularly want him back. We want Porto to keep paying the 100 grand a week. Now, we don't have to take him back, let's be honest. The contract is a contract, but they're trying to push him back. So now he's being pushed out that door by the chairman and the manager, and he's got his current owner, chairman, and manager who don't want him back in their door. So Felipe is kind of neither here nor there now in his career. He's kind of got nowhere to go. And now we're hearing reports that, he potentially could, be loaned instead to Everton or out to some club in the United Arab Emirates. So I kind of feel bad for the guy at this point, because it doesn't need to be like this. If he just didn't have it, if he just couldn't play, if he wasn't good enough, then I might still feel sorry for him, but I'd at least understand why it's happening. But right now I don't, because he's got bags of talent. And there's a part of me, I won't lie, when it comes to stuff like this, I am a little bit of a softie at times. Because he's not an Arnautovic, he's not a Payet. He hasn't acted the bollocks, right, with anybody. He hasn't caused problems. He hasn't demanded this or demanded that. He hasn't refused to train or not shown up or demanded this or demanded that, or asked for more money or loyalty payments or any of this. He hasn't done anything wrong. He's treated the club quite well. He's done the right things all the time. So there's this part of me that kind of still wants this to kind of work for him somehow, because he is a good guy, I think. And he does have lots and lots of talent. I just don't know what's going on in here. So if I'm the West Ham manager right now, because I'm such a bloody softie with this stuff, I probably would say, you know what, Felipe, I don't want you to be over there and be bloody miserable and be an outcast. I'd say to Porto, all right, look, just send him back. Okay, just send him back. We'll pick up his wages again, but we're not giving you the early recall money. You're sending him back. You're not getting that money. And obviously Porto will jump at that. The chairman will probably drive him to the airport himself. So I would kind of bring him back, and I'd like to think I could just sit him down. Like just bring him to my house or something and just sit him down, give him dinner, have some wine, just say, Felipe, look, you've got bags of...
I know, completely sloshed Felipe Anderson on your sofa.
Might be no harm for him. I would try to just get in his head and just say, okay, Felipe, look, what's going on? You've got all the talent in the world. You have the potential to play for Brazil as a winger, which is no mean feat. We've seen what you can do. You've done it before at Lazio. You've done it here at West Ham. It's just what's going on in your head. Why can't you just get yourself motivated, get yourself going? I would really try to make this thing work. I would give it one last chance to just come on, Felipe. Like befriend him, get in his head, and just try to get him going. Because there's a really, really great player there, and I feel actually sorry for the guy now because he does look so sad, and there's clearly something not right, and he's down in the dumps, and I hate seeing him that way, because I'm a bloody fucking softie. And I would bring him back, and I would try to actually fix him. You know what I mean? I would give it until the summer. Say, look, you've got half a season. Let's see if we can just get you going, and maybe he'll open up to you, and you can actually, develop a really, really strong relationship with him. Because Moyes has done that with all the other players, let's remember. Well, the other players all love him and would run through walls for him.
Not all of them, but yeah.
Well, the majority.
Get rid of the ones that he doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. But I don't know. I just think the whole situation is just kind of sad, really, because, like I say, it just doesn't have to be this way. So I would love to see Anderson come back. As much as I wanted to sell him the end of last season, I just feel bad for the guy now. I would love for him to come back. And for Moyes to put an arm around him, get in his head and say, Felipe, come on, what's going on with you, son? You're better than this. Because his career is gonna be over, Gonzo. We've seen this before. Ravel Morrison's just been released from some crappy club in Scandinavia.
He's not the only one. I was watching clips of Victor Moses the other day. Do you know what I mean? I mean, he should have played his whole career.
How many players have we seen? Waste a career because
it's Sean Wright Philippitis. That's what it is. Happens to a lot of them.
Yeah, we've seen it numerous times. That players who have kind of the world at their feet, or at the very least, should have a very good career, and just waste it because up here something's not right with them. And Felipe is on the brink of that now. We're talking like he'd be very, very lucky if he was to get a move to Everton. And to be completely honest, I don't think even that would work out for him because, why would it? I mean, the evidence we've seen is that his career is just in complete and utter decline. I mean, if he gets loaned out to the United Arab Emirates, I mean, that's it. He's done.
No, it's all over. Look, Tommy, let me interject there. I say he made so many points. I think it's all over anyway for him. You look at Everton. I mean, that's the first one of the points. Would Everton take him? Probably, because they're quite good at taking off-cast wingers who are not really doing it at their parent club. I think he'd go in there. I guess Balassi has since been moved on, but Balassi, Iwobi, they have a lot of wide... Bernard, they want to get rid of him. They just seem to have these creative players who are... This is Everton's problem. They do not buy top-notch. It's exactly their issue. Until they go out and buy the best young player around and then play him in a position rather than buying Swansea's best player and a reserve from Arsenal. And this is what Everton do. So I could see that happening. In terms of the mentality, we all have worked with somebody like that. We've all worked with somebody who actually has the skills to do their job, but is not committed. We know them all. We might know them by different things. The type of person that starts watching the clock at 3:30 and then tries to sort of look for the last hour. Absolutely. This is it. I think there's a bit of that about him. I wonder, but it is a mentality. I wonder, you talked about a Liverpool game. I don't know why anybody that wasn't as good as that wouldn't look at Mohamed Salah or any of the skillful Liverpool players and think, I'm having a bit of that. I'll do some of this but you can't put your mindset into somebody else and just assume that. But you might do that anyway. But if you've got that mindset, look, when I was fitting bathrooms, I used to fit bathrooms, but when there's like a monthly plumber's catalogue that has all bathroom stuff in it. I'd see all these showroom catalogues of bathrooms. I look and think, oh, hello, that's a good one. I wouldn't mind, okay, maybe I need to look and start doing a bit of this. That's just a mentality of, okay, I want to do better. I've got to keep moving forward. I want to be sort of competing at the top of my trade, whatever that may be. I just don't think he's got any of that at all in him. I did sort of have to, there's a scene we're watching. But a lot of telly being watched in my house recently, everybody's house recently for obvious reasons. And the Pirates of the Caribbean was on the other day. You know the film?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's a scene where Captain Jack Sparrow and Elizabeth Swann get made to I can't remember the pirate's name. He's on the Black Pearl. Jeffrey Rush plays him, and he has to. They basically get stranded on an island. He pushes him overboard or whatever. And then Elizabeth Swann, she turns around and she said, well, how did you survive on this island last time? And it turns out that actually the last time he'd been on the island, all he only stayed there for 3 days, sunbathing and drinking rum. And she said, all you did was sunbathe and drink rum. And he said, welcome to the Caribbean, love. And I just, when you were saying that this, that this Porto chairman had a eureka moment where he was thinking, hold on a second, we've got a winger here that we're paying 100 grand a week to, that can't get any assists, can't play, isn't committed, and can't get into the team. We've wasted a load of money. I did actually think, welcome to West Ham United. Yeah, that he knew what it felt like to be a West Ham fan at that particular time, the Porto chairman. I don't think there's any way back for him. I really, really don't, because if you've not got it, you've not got it. And whilst it's nice, what you say is right. In essence, you saying the manager taking him to his house and sitting him down and trying to get in his head. Again, you're applying the way you judge things, that you can give someone a pep talk. I would imagine he's had that pep talk. Granted, maybe not around David Moyes' house with a bottle of wine and a box of free vegetables. Hold on, Flip, I got some veg left over from my previous job.
Maybe David Sullivan's missus could pop over. See
well, far be it from me to say. Yeah, maybe not. Sorry, you threw me a bit there. I spent all day avoiding that. I just think he'll be, whilst I think he's had a word with him, a chat with him, albeit not in that sense with the vegetables and Mrs. Sullivan and everything, like the red wine. What an evening that would be. An evening of vegetables, red wine, David Moyes.
It might be worth a shot. I mean, just think of the upside, if he, ends up being kind of one of the top wingers in world football. Well, whatever.
If that was a show on Netflix, David Moyes, Mrs. Sullivan, a box of vegetables, and a bottle of red wine, I would tune in for that Netflix show. That's all I'm saying.
I'll tell you what, Amazon Prime could be all over that.
I've noticed about the Amazon Prime. They want you to pay for some things. I've noticed that. Some of it they say, oh, it's included in the Prime, and some things I've clicked on. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean $2.99? I'm giving you $2.99. I've paid, haven't I? So anyway, that's
Jeff Bezos is struggling. To be fair,
he is struggling a little bit. So look, I reckon everybody has said that. I reckon everybody's given him a pep talk. I reckon Lazio gave him a pep talk. He's had pep talks at West Ham. The Porto manager's probably tried it. And just sometimes you can't. Just sometimes in life, people have talent but no drive. And I don't think he's got any drive. And sometimes, because we've already mentioned players, and I'll tell you what, when we're talking about this and talking about players that have lost that drive and that motivation, there'll be others that people watching this are thinking, hold on, that I can name him. I'm not saying that they're just all money. Look, I've said this many, many times, right? It's not that I'm not driven, I don't have any drive. But I've always said, what makes a billionaire, right? Because I always said, look, if I had there's something about a billionaire. When he gets to 5 million, he thinks, I'm going to make that 10. He gets to 10 million. Oh, let's make that 25. Let's make that 25 million, 100 million. And they keep, because it's the addiction of the deal. Some people are just addicted to the deal. All right. Then there are probably other people like me that would get 5 million, buy a house down by the sea in Swanage, put a load of pinball machines in my front room, buy a fridge, buy a cooler, add my little fishing rod, spend 4 million, stick £1 million in the bank, and that would be it. I'd live out the rest of my life because, and so I'm not saying it's. See, the thing is, that's not about being money orientated, because actually it's not the drive to earn more. That's about getting to a position of comfort and then relaxing. And I just wonder how many footballers get to the point where they have £5-6 million in the bank and they think, oh, you know, the sleet and the deep heat and the running up and down the hill in pre-season, the treadmill. I do wonder. You can't tell me that that happens to no footballers. So if it happens to some, it happens to a percentage of them. They just lose that drive because they are rich. They become wealthy people. And actually, Andy Carroll used to say this about football. You say he didn't really like football. He didn't watch football. He didn't watch any football matches or anything like that. He said football was just a job to him.
Danny Rose.
You're right, actually. Yeah.
Danny Rose was talking about retiring. Like, he was saying, I don't even like playing football anymore.
He can't.
Yeah, because he's comfortable.
Yeah.
Doesn't need to like it.
No, but that's the thing. So, which is, I respect any individual that. What I don't respect is, well, actually, mate, you've signed a contract for 4 or 5 years. If what you're saying is you're comfortable, admit it and say, actually, I am comfortable. I can't, in all honesty, take another honest penny off of you because I'm not committed. I think that's the point. I think that's what I'd like to see, but we won't see it. But because of that, there will be other people in the world of football who will know that about Felipe Anderson. Look, we might both be talking rubbish. It might well go.
Yeah, that
to
might not
like
be the
Everton
case with
and they get
Anderson,
a tune out of him.
Yeah, that might not be the case with him. Yeah, but look, the realist in me suspects that you're right as regards that. There's no way back for Felipe from this. I think that's likely going to prove to be the case. There's just that part of me that thinks, what a terrible waste of talent.
And
money. Yeah, but and it's not like he's in the winter of his career.
No.
I mean, these should be the years where he's shining the brightest, where he's tearing up defenses and scoring goals, getting assists, and looking absolutely brilliant. And it's just, I just think it's an awful waste, because there's a lot of I don't know what I'd give to have his talent, Gio or Gonzo. You know what I mean? Like, to have his talent.
You don't know what you do to have Gio's talent. That's what you just said.
Yeah, in broadcasting.
Absolutely.
He's going to the very top.
He's going to the very top. You know what? I couldn't lace his boots. Speaking of which, he's actually, when he's done this software, he's got a load of preset pictures here. I'll give you a picture of Jack Grealish. A random picture of Jack. Who's this? Timo Werner. Someone here. Man City player by the looks of it. Oh.
Kyle Walker.
Oh, but a disgraced Kyle Walker who can't wear the sponsored. That's something going on here. I don't know what's going on. There we go. Sorry, it's a bit random. I just started clicking. I do have a habit with this new software of just clicking buttons. The first time myself and Gio were doing like a build up to he said, I don't like this, because I had control from this end. So I started clicking things. It's all very interesting. Right, anyway, before I click the very last button, which is to end the broadcast. Thanks for joining us, Tommy. I think we've come to no conclusions, except you're very sorry. You're very regretful.
Except that Felipe Anderson's career will largely be wasted.
Yeah, absolutely. It will largely be wasted. On that note, thank you for joining me. Everybody else, we're going out Friday, I think, because we've the striker one with the cars and the Datsun Hosek or whatever it was, the Datsun Adam Armstrong. I can't even remember, something like that. There'll be people watching this don't know what a Datsun is. That's a Nissan Adam Armstrong. For those of you that don't know, thank you for joining me, Tommy, mate.
Pleasure. Enjoyed it. Thanks for having me.
You're very, very welcome. We will be back tomorrow, and tomorrow is match day.
Not me, by
Yes,
the way. Not we.
you won't be there.
Us two. I won't be there. So
You won't be there. You won't be
so
there.
avoid disappointment,
Mm.
and don't tune in thinking I'm going to be there.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Well, I'm going to end this broadcast now, as I have to try and work out how to press the button for the end slate and read the instructions. Cheers, Tommy. Cheers, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. To complete the end of this broadcast, click the button in the top right-hand corner twice